Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a look at a built model. This is my build of the 1/25th scale AMT White Freightliner cabover engine dual drive. A kit that's been on the go for a very long time. It's had numerous reissues in slightly different guises. There is a kit that also builds up the single drive and day cab, non-sleeper cab versions. This one is aimed squarely at the dual drive twin rear axle sleeper cab configuration. Whether you could build the sleeper cab or single drive, I guess you could if you put some work in. I expect that the single drive kit presumably includes other parts to enable you to do those versions. So I encountered a few issues with this kit. I knew I would because everybody else says that there are some problems with parts fit and parts location, and that certainly proved to be true. However, I'm still fairly happy with what I ended up with. What I was going for with this, I sort of couldn't decide really what to do with it, what sort of look to go for. In the end, I decided to go for a hard-working truck from the 1970s, maybe it's the early 80s. The truck's getting a few years on it, a few miles on it. You know, it's still good, still runs, it's still serviced, but whoever drives this truck and operates this truck spends his time making money and doesn't spend his time polishing his truck. That's the plan. So, what's to like about it? For its age, there's some nice detail included. So, you don't get separate windshield wipers, but the headlamps are separate chrome pieces with the clear lens inserts. You've also got clear driving light inserts on the bumper, two-piece bumper there. The grille is a separate piece that fits in, as is the Freightliner emblem up here, which apparently also serves as the cold air intake for the engine. There's a scoop underneath there that connects into the front of the engine, which is quite interesting. No turbo on this one, straight six engine under there. I've glued the cab down. I can never get these cabs to fit and hinge nicely, so I always end up gluing them down. Same with the hoods on the conventionals. But there is a straight six under there. Which I modelled and painted because I knew you'd be able to see some of it from the back because of the way these old truck cabs are. No turbo on it, just a diesel straight six, just ambient air pressure going in there. I think it would be a steady job taking one of these from coast to coast. If you've done it or you know somebody who has, drop us a line below and let us know. So I was talking about detail, wasn't I? Yeah, so you've got these separate grab handles, the marker lights on the roof. You've got the plated lamp units with clear amber lenses to go on there. The cab steps I don't like. I saw on another video somebody actually replaced those with some they made themselves. I hadn't factored that into this build, and by the time I got to the steps I really wanted to be able to put a lid on it. But if I was planning another one of these, I would definitely plan to make my own cab steps because those don't go together well or fit well in my opinion. A word on the chrome in this kit. Like most US truck kits, it comes with everything chrome: grille, bumpers, headlamp, casings, air horns, marker lights, wheels, diesel tanks, exhaust and more. I decided that this would be a minimal chrome vehicle, sort of showing its working class origins, working class lifestyle. So that's the plated bumper and grille assembly, but given a shot with some Tamiya flat clear. All the chrome work has been either hit with some flat clear or quite simply repainted silver. The exhaust, I think I did them with some pewter spray paint. Diesel tanks were they're not chromed in the kit. Actually, they're not chromed. You could obviously make them look chrome if you wanted to, but I didn't. I went for that sort of used and abused unpolished stainless steel kind of look. And the wheels, again, they are chromed in the kit, but I wanted to give them that sort of, I wanted to paint them. Again, it's that working truck look I was going for there. In terms of details, I just mentioned the exhaust, not the best detailed exhaust in the world. Some aftermarket ones would go on there and look a lot better, but I decided I didn't want to spend more on this than just my consumables and paint. So I left them on there and decided I would be happy with them however they looked. We've got the, this is really different to European trucks. I think this is the pogo stick, I've heard that called. That's the kind of upright unit where the pneumatic hose for the trailer goes on, and seems to be just sort of, if it's not with a trailer, if the truck isn't hauling, then that just seems to be kind of tied up and looped around the antenna or pogo stick there. So replicated that as best of my knowledge. You can see through the back there, you can see the green transmission and engine. The cross pipe for the exhaust stacks on my build doesn't quite meet up with the exhaust pipe coming from the engine. There's other evidence under there that makes me think I got the engine in about 3-4 millimeters too far forward. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I don't get that because it lines up and fits perfectly with the drive shaft, prop shaft rather, and axles. Is it me or is it the kit? I don't know. I'll say it's me. Yeah, and you get those nice vinyl tyres in there. I gave them a treatment with some Tamiya weathering powder. I wanted them to look just old and dried up. Legal, but, you know, again, not show truck category. What else have we got to look at on here? Okay, so what went well and what didn't go well? There was an issue with everything, pretty much. So this sleeper cab is in two pieces. The front day cab, non-sleeper, and then you get this sleeper, which isn't separate on the real truck as far as I know. It's just a part of the larger cab pressing, but it is separate here. So you have to put that on and cover the joint. It is not a sophisticated joint. It just butts up. So yeah, I did what I could there with some putty and some a lot of sanding. It looks probably better in the video than it does in real life, I'm hoping. Anyway, so that was a challenge. Another documented one, the front track, the width apart of the front wheels, they stick out the side of the cab. I've reduced that effect in a very crude way by just taking a power tool to the back of the hubs and moving them in 1 millimeter or 2, but they still stick out a bit too far. Those are now just on there by the grace of super glue and nothing more technical than that. Diesel tanks go together fine. You just need to do the usual, get rid of the join marks there, presuming that you don't want to see those. What else was a challenge? Some people talk about the rear axles being tricky to fit. I found they went on fine. I think I probably removed the location tabs actually, either on purpose or by accident, I can't remember, but I think I did that and found I was able to locate them fairly well, and so that it all lined up quite easily really. The chassis went together fine, it really did. It's not posable steering on this model, so that's just straight, although by the time you've chiseled away at the back of the hubs and cyano glued the wheels on, I suppose you could pose them steered if you wish to. What else was a challenge with this one? I couldn't get it to fit nice. I couldn't get the cab to fit nicely over the engine, and if I did, it certainly wouldn't have hinged forward. All sorts of things would have gotten messed up and caught up. These cab steps would have fouled the diesel tank, I'm fairly sure. And the license plate holder here would foul the bumper. Yeah, it was going to be a big old mess, so I just thought let's glue it down, and that way I can get it to sit halfway decent as well and sort of line up with the bumper and so on. So there's a few issues with it, I'm not going to lie to you. A few fit issues, a few location issues. So the instruction sheet for this kit is more like a series of exploded diagrams rather than a set of very detailed instructions. So I think if you're an experienced US truck modeler, you'd probably get on better with this than I did. I've done 3 or 4 US trucks in the past, slightly more modern, slightly more advanced kits than this one in terms of the way they go together. So this was a challenge for me, I have to admit. But yeah, so it was only for trial and error that I realised that the exhaust stacks, which come with these nice brackets by the way, fit on to the brackets, the rearmost bracket for this diesel tank and the foremost bracket for that driver's side diesel tank. Or at least they do on this one. That's how I've done it. It looks as if that was the right thing to do, but then as I said, that exhaust crosspipe doesn't connect with the pipe from the engine, so maybe I got that wrong. Not too sure about that. I can see I also didn't get the exhaust up straight, but hey, whatever. Truck's had a hard life. So yeah, there's some of the main issues with it really. Yeah, it's a sort of, I would do another one. I must admit, I would build another one of these. I would go into it much better prepared and knowing how to approach it better, I think. There are also no part numbers, which I didn't realise. I actually did an unboxing of this kit, which is elsewhere on the channel, so you can go and take a look at that. I failed to notice at that point that there are no part numbers either moulded onto the frames or on the instructions. There are assembly order numbers, i.e. first step, second step, third step, but there aren't any part numbers. So that wasn't as much of a challenge as I thought it would be. You can mostly identify each part using the the Mark 1 eyeball, but yeah, if they were going to remake this in any kind of improved format, then I think certainly I would have been helped by some more detailed instructions, really, and sort of what do's and don'ts, things to avoid. However, I must admit I really like the end product. I was looking for a sort of 1970s American work truck, or my idea of one, having mostly seen them in films and movies and TV programs. This is pretty much what I wanted to arrive at. Something that could have driven off the set of In Which Way But Loose, or Convoy, or any of those good old films, any TV shows from that era. There we go. That is my build of AMT's 1/25th scale White Freightliner cabover. Thank you very much for watching.